Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from SpeechModification.com. In this video, we'll look at how to practice for the final T sound. I'm going to show you some resources from the basic to most advanced type of practice. So if you're on my website, SpeechModification.com, you can go to our free practice area here under free resources, and you can do a search for final T, or you can search for the T sound, and all of the lessons related to that will come up. So you can take a look at, for example, how Americans say T at the ends of words. There's going to be a video and some resources and some lessons. You can also take a look at our other specific lessons, for example, linking final T. And there you'll see that there are some other resources and YouTube videos. You can also go to YouTube from our website, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you obviously already follow the channel. One of the things I often suggest for you when you're using the resources on the channel, of course, you can leave me comments with your questions, but here on our homepage, you see we have a search box. If I search here, this is going to show me everything on YouTube. So it might show you my video or it might show you another video. If you want to make sure you're finding my video, click here on the search and you can click in, for example, say you want to learn about linking the T sound, put in your search, and then everything related to that search, flap T and D, for example, other linking videos, how to pronounce T at the end will show up. So that was using this search box. And so the basics I want to tell you about linking for final T are that we do basically two things. When we link to a vowel sound, we're going to make a flap. So, for example, add it sounds like a light D in between, add it. When we link to a consonant sound, at the, we're going to use an unreleased T, close to make the T, and then move right into the consonant sound. You can get a lot of practice for that here in our videos. You can also use our on our online practice, you can use our online courses. So I often talk about our 6-week course as well as our Sounds of English course. In the Sounds of English course, you'll see that we talk about all of the different sounds of English and letters versus sounds, etc. So you can look through and see in the American T lessons, T at the beginning, middle, ends of words, the different sounds it makes, how to link it, and then a little bit more advanced practice. So the online resources are a great way, both the free and inexpensive online courses, to work on any particular sound or pattern. Let me show you one way that I often encourage my clients to use when they're talking about, when they're working on the next steps for final T. So we often can master it in practice exercises, but then when we go to speak, it's a little bit challenging. And so an in-between step is reading aloud. The reason reading aloud is easier is that I can see where the T's and D's are, for example, or the T at the ends of words. I can practice ahead of time, and then I can try to do it more fluently as I read. So let me show you. You can choose anything that you're reading in an online article or in a Word document, and you can use some resources and some tools with web browsers or online document programs like Word or any word processing, or looking at PDF by clicking on Edit, and then you're going to find in page. And that's the same in a document. You click on Find, and then down here, there's a search box. I'm going to click on Highlight All, and I'm going to look for T. So if I look for all of the T's, I could practice all of the T's. That's a lot of T's, though, you see. I'm going to click a space after my T, and it'll just show me all the T's that come at the ends of words. So as I'm reading, I can start just reading and look for these T's, and that highlight is going to help me notice them. But I can also plan ahead and do a little bit of basic practice and then more integrated practice. What I mean by that is when I'm looking at the T's, I'm going to look at my T and see what comes next. So in newest weapon, I actually have an ST here, so I'm going to hear the T sound, newest weapon, little T sound happening. then I can put it in the context of the sentence. So I will try newest weapon. Robo bunnies are the newest weapon. Or same idea with fight against. I'm going to have, for this T, it's going to link to the of against, and it'll turn into a flat. Fight against, fighta. And this T, against, again is an ST, we'll hear that T sound. So try fight against, newest weapon in the fight against. Robo bunnies are the newest weapon in the fight against invasive Burmese pythons in Florida. So I started with the targets and then I built up a longer sentence. This is Smithsonian Magazine, by the way, using this for educational purposes. But I just clicked on my browser and looked at an article that I thought sounded interesting. So you can do this with anything that you're reading using that highlight feature. You'll find that for a lot of patterns, there are many examples of it that come up in any article that you're reading, or anything that you're writing is also a good way to check, because the things that you would typically be writing in an email or in an essay are also the things that you might be saying in a conversation. So here in this paragraph, let's look at out of. We link the T to the vowel sound. Sounds like a flap, out of. It's a very common combination. So I can do it in this context, out of hiding, snakes out of hiding. Scientists are experimenting with robotic rabbits in hopes of luring the destructive snakes out of hiding so they can be euthanized. But I could also take that out of and use it in my own phrases. For example, out of time, out of money, out of place. Thinking about other ways that I would use that combination of sounds. Let's continue our reading practice. At various, I'm going to see that I have a T followed by a consonant sound, so I make that stop T, at various undisclosed locations, placed at various undisclosed locations. That can, again, use an unreleased T and then the consonant sound of the K, that can. And in this case, I'll also pay attention to how I say my can. If I'm just saying it by itself, that can, I'll have the ah sound. But I know I'm going to say can lead, so I'm going to add another layer, paying attention to more than one thing at a time. That can lead, that can lead. So that can, that gets a little bit reduced. Unreleased T to my can. Male scout snakes that can lead them to large reproductive females. That can lead. Here's another example of combination of words, that can. I'm going to use that with a lot of different things. That can go, that can stay, that can be a great idea, that can do better, etc. At the, another very common combination, unreleased T to a TH sound, at the, scientists at the university, and then I can also add my own phrases, at the place, at the movies, at the library. Throughout South, another unreleased T to consonant sound, throughout South Florida, robo bunnies throughout South Florida. Out of, here's a final T and a vowel sound, out of their hiding places, out of time, out of money, out of place. I believe we already had out of. So you can see how common it is. And this helps you find not only common combinations, but sometimes a whole variety of different things as I'm reading. So I definitely recommend going through and highlighting, trying just the short phrases, and then build it into your reading. Then once you've done a little bit of that kind of practice, go back and just try reading and see if you are able to notice those T's as you're reading and read fluently and smoothly. Maybe you won't get all of them, but you have prepped your brain a little bit for what happens, and it's a more advanced practice that way. So follow after me for the first couple of paragraphs here. Robo bunnies are the newest weapon in the fight against invasive Burmese pythons in Florida. Scientists are experimenting with robotic rabbits in hopes of luring the destructive snakes out of hiding so they can be euthanized. Wildlife biologists in Florida are doing everything they can to eradicate invasive Burmese pythons from hosting public hunting challenges and hiring bounty hunters to affixing tracking devices to make male scout snakes that can lead them to large reproductive females. Now they've come up with an innovative new tool to help battle the destructive snakes: robotic rabbits. Scientists at the University of Florida are deploying the so-called robo-bunnies throughout South Florida in hopes of drawing Burmese pythons out of their hiding places so they can be euthanized, reports Kimberly Miller for the Palm Beach Post. By luring the pythons to the rabbit lookalikes, biologists can save time that might otherwise be spent searching through the swamp for the snakes. So that's just some modeling of the technique of using the highlight feature. Just a reminder, I used the edit and find in page, and then I clicked on T with a space for T at the ends of the word. I could also look at, if I wanted to practice for T at the beginning of the words, I would click space and then T. And now I can see the T's at the start of words. And I could practice making sure that I have the puff of air as I'm saying those words, like to, tool. A lot of these T's are THs. So, so you can see that actually TH is a great thing to practice. If I wanted to practice at the start of words, I could click on TH with a space in front of it, or all of the TH sounds, or TH just at the ends of words. So this is a technique I can use for lots of different things. A little bit more easy and helpful for for consonant sounds rather than vowel sounds, because of course with vowel sounds, I'm going to get a variety of different sounds for a letter that I'm working on. But even with vowels, if I click on the letter I, for example, many of these are going to be the I sound, like invasive, in, Florida, and I may have a pattern of associating the letter I with more of an E sound. So you can use this pattern, this practice technique, to isolate various sounds and to look to ways to bring your practice to a little bit more of an advanced level, as well as, of course, using the materials on our website, using the search box here to find what you're looking for. Leave me comments and questions. Let me know what you think about that reading aloud technique, if it's something you already do. Notice how when I was reading aloud, I was really just trying to focus on one pattern at a time. It's very difficult to keep track of all the different things you're trying to change, but if you keep that limited focus, you have those visual highlight reminders, it can be a great way to do a little bit different practice and to get something that's a little more challenging than some of the basic practice you find on the website. Thanks so much for practicing with me today. Let me know what you think about this video and this style of practice. Leave your questions, comments, etc. Thanks so much for those of you who have subscribed to the channel, our channel members. I truly appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you in our upcoming class on Saturday, our live question and answer class. I'm Christine Dunbar from SpeechModification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. SpeechModification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.